Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. It's Kaghoe coming at you with another video. So today we have our numbers update that we normally do on Fridays, but it's Saturday, but it's the same. I just, really wanted to get yesterday's video out and talk about it, but we have some very shocking news here with the numbers, and this is a first in nearly 5 months that we have seen this, and a first time ever occurrence. But before we get into the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Everything you guys do helps my channel grow, helps me get discovered, and helps me help as many people as possible, which is the entire point of my channel. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So an important thing to note before we dive right into these numbers is that these are logged rating numbers for the entire Classic project and into Season of Discovery. This does not count players that log in every day and do like PvP, do world things, just whatever they log in to do. As they are not in a logged raid, they do not show up. So like people like me, I count as 2 because I raid on my mage and I raid on my druid, and they are logged every single week. So just wanted to be very abundantly clear with these numbers because a few people were confused and wanted to make sure that I point out that in the video. But anyway, let's dive right into the numbers. So we have the Cata numbers right here, and this is the entire time we have been in the Burning Crusade here, or from Classic all the way to Cataclysm. So from 2019 when it first released, we've seen a steady increase of about 300 to 400,000 people. Once Snacks came out, it kind of dipped pretty low to almost 200k by the end. However, that's normal when the last phase usually lasts longer and is extended. It's usually like 12 to 20 weeks or something ridiculous like that, and you see some drop off, which is natural. We see that in Classic, we see that in TBC, and we see that in Wrath of the Lich King, so there's no worry there. Then we see TBC, where it held a strong 300 to 350,000 pretty much the entire expansion. It wasn't until Sunwell got pretty repetitive that it started to dip down. And then we got Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath of the Lich King, obviously the most popular expansion Blizzard has ever done. This is a common fact, and the numbers do not lie. It peaked at almost 626,000 people for Naxxramas, and that is the all-time high that we have seen across all versions of Classic WoW here on NA and EU servers, which is kind of nuts. And a lot of people really enjoy Wrath of the Lich King. Then, as you see, it had smaller peaks when you went into Ulduar, then TOGC, into ICC. No real fall off until we got to ICC in the buff, and ICC went to like 30 weeks or something ridiculously long like that. So that's where you start to see fall off, and it hit a low of 80,000 people, which happens, as you can see here with TBC launch. And then actually TBC to Wrath launch was not that bad of drop off, which is kind of crazy, but because a Sunwell gear you could use like up until level 80, so it kind of made sense. Sunwell gear was insanely good. But anyway, we have Cataclysm here, and this is what I want to highlight. So Cata started off pretty strong, and it peaked at about 317,000 players raiding in their second week of the raids, which is really good to see. Healthy, hyped up, everyone was going. Now what is very alarming is the rapid drop. Like, this thing is plummeting like a roller coaster ride, and that is very alarming, because if we look to Classic, we look to TBC, we look to Wrath of the Lich King, we see a steady population that stayed and played the game. Here we see nothing but a decline in the first tier of rating, and it makes you really wonder about Cata. And now for the craziness news, we see it went from 102,000 to 85,000. And now this number is super important, because this right here is the first time since Cataclysm released that its number has dropped below Season of Discovery, and that is key to see, and it's something I honestly did not think would happen. As much as I love SoD, and as much as I'm playing SoD and not playing Cata, I never thought I would see this day, and it's kind of shocking. And I will say Firelands is on the way, and it could reinvigorate this number quite a bit, but I really don't know. Well, time will tell, and we'll have to see. Firelands is regarded as the best raid of the expansion, and there is hope in that aspect. I'm not just here to say to talk bad about Cata, just looking at the hard facts and numbers and trends that we are seeing, and it's kind of crazy. Let's go over to Season of Discovery. So as we see with Season of Discovery, we have the first phase right here. It peaked at almost 500,000 players, which is insane. That, once again, raid logged players, like people that logged a raid. So BFD, you could actually level 1 to 25 in a day and do BFD. At my peak, I literally was 8 of these people. I raided 8 times with a bunch of people and all their alts, so it's kind of nuts to do that. I only did it like 1 week because I hated it, but you know, in my effort to get all the runes and do all the classes and try all the discovering, that was kind of crazy. But just to give you a reference, it might not be 500,000 individual players, because a lot of people did that. Then we see the drop off when we hit phase 2. Obviously, leveling 25 to 40 was a grind. It took multiple days to get there, and you know, if you didn't take off or were, you know, a content creator or something like that, you definitely saw this. So that's where that drop is. Then about 2 weeks later, people started to get back into it. Nomagon peaked at 327,000. However, the phase kind of ended short. Like, right after its peak, it only lasted 8 weeks. So we see this drop off, like a little bit of a drop, and then bam, we were right into phase 3. And phase 3, what it did is it cut the people in half, because you needed 20 people to raid, and that made it significantly harder for pugs, for people not in guilds, as well as Sunken Temple was really punishing. And so it, you know, it had held strong for about 5 or 6 weeks, and then we see the true plummet, and it just went down and down and down, and phase 3 dragged out for 14 weeks, reaching an all-time low of 20,000 players. Then we come to phase 4 launch. This was world bosses. People didn't really care too much. Then we got MC at 75k, and pretty much since then we have seen a steady increase, peaking at about 88,000 players. And then it dropped a little bit back down to 75k before phase 5 launched with BWL and Thunderin. And shockingly, to my surprise, BWL and Thunderin is really like the juicy content, and ZG obviously. That is the juicy content of phase 5, and people are continuing to raid at a very steady number. We've even increased almost 1,200 to 88,256, which is almost an all-time high. The all-time high is 88,517 for the in-game rating phase. Obviously, I know that 500,000 from phase 1 is different, but that's almost a year ago in a completely different time. So it is very, very surprising to me to see that we have held strong at almost 100,000 players playing the game. Obviously, we're rounding up there, but it is crazy to me that, as you can see, for the first time that SoD and Cataclysm were both out, Season of Discovery has passed Cata in rating population, which is very, very interesting to see. Now, the biggest question I have for you guys, and something I want you guys to think about here, is where do you think the remaining players went? We're seeing numbers upwards of 300 to 400,000 throughout all of 2019 Classic. Those people disappeared. You could say they went to SoD when SoD was out, but that only covers like the Wrath of the Lich King part, like End of Wrath into Cata, like those early months of 2024 here. And so, other than that, where do you think everyone went? Unfortunately, Ironforge doesn't really have retail numbers on their website, or I would cover those as well. But, it is just something to think of. Do you think people are playing retail? Do you think people are just moving on from Classic WoW and playing different games? Which I hope not, and I hope they're still playing WoW because, time will tell. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this video, your thoughts, your comments, your concerns here down below, and I'll do my best to talk to you. But until next time, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you still there? Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this entire video and making it to the end here. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out the other videos about World of Warcraft listed in these playlists down below. And thank you again. Have a great day. Bye-bye.